Gonna rotate it in that direction. Hey, now let's go ahead and talk some about Friday night for Mississippi State basketball. Then we'll get to Ole Miss and Dayton as well. Yeah. So State wins 69-66 over Furman. 5,797 the attendance.
I'd ask you to verify that, but you were at your house.
I was not there.
No.
Based on what I saw on television, which is what you saw on television if you were watching as well, there were not 6,000 people there.
Oh, well.
Furman hit 14 of 27 threes. And they were 8 of 16 in the second half from three in the game. 6 of 11 first half, 8 of 16.
Missed the most important one and the best look of the night, too.
Yeah. Wide open look, too.
Wide open look.
Yeah. Garrison Brooks, 18 points, 14 from Iverson Molinar. I thought DJ Jeffries played really well. He had 14 points. He was a difference maker on the defensive end of the floor. And Shaquille Moore had 12 points as well. Derek Fountain, the fifth starter, only one not in double figures. And frankly, State just didn't get much from their bench, period.
No.
Javion Davis had 2. Cameron Matthews had 2.
But that said, Cameron Matthews may have had the biggest play of the game.
Yeah.
And that steal in the closing minutes to get State a chance to close the game out. Yeah. So
State was up. They were up 18. They were up 29-11.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of petered away a little bit, and they had an 11-point lead going into the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got outscored 42-34 in the second half, but they were able to hang on for the win.
Yeah.
I know you were making jokes earlier. I think Furman's a pretty decent basketball team.
They are a good team. They're a good team.
They've got 3 legitimate scorers. And one of those 3 scorers for Furman was held scoreless.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Bothwell, who's gone for 30 a couple of times this year, did not score a point in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But Jalen Slauson was good, and Alex Hunter was unbelievable. He finished with 30 points on 8 of 11 from 3.
I could hear the disbelief in your voice on some of those shots as they hit the bottom of the net. You're just like, this is incredible. But it's been a recurring theme for State this year that guys have these monster shooting games against them. And I think we've reached the point where it's not coincidence. I think State has some flaws defensively. You sort of hit on it when we talked about them earlier, that when they're locked in, that's a great defensive team. They've got a lot of length, they've got athleticism, and they're doing it without Tolu Smith sort of, controlling the paint for them down there and being a big-time rebounder because he's been injured these past few games. But they switch off. And, when you switch off against the Furman, they're able to get back in the game. When you switch off against Florida or Kentucky or Tennessee or Alabama, you're going to be down 15, 20 points. So I just am not seeing it with this team the way I wanted to see it. They're 9-3. I thought they'd be 11-1 at this point. If they had lost to Louisville, now Louisville's apparently not a very good team.
Furman beat Louisville.
Yeah, and so did Western Kentucky this weekend. And then we'll see what Minnesota does when Big Ten play starts, and Colorado State looks like they're a good mid-major team. But right now, as it stands, State's not going to have a decent non-conference win, and then they're going to have to go into conference play and probably win 11 or 12 games to feel really secure about where they are in the NCAA tournament. Somebody, I took some heat today on some message boards because of my podcast where I basically laid all this out, and I said I'm not impressed. And I don't know how I don't think it's going to turn out good for Mississippi State. And some people were like, expect them, win 11. Oh, if they're in the top 4, they'll be in, no problem. Well, they were in the top 4 2 years ago when the season got canceled, and they weren't in there. They certainly were not in comfortably at that point, if in at all.
Yeah,
so,
3 fairly legitimate opportunities for good non-conference wins.
Yeah, and they haven't got. They're 0-3.
Louisville, Minnesota, and Colorado State, and yet they got a top 50 a top 50 net ranking.
Yeah,
and so Mississippi State is actually positioned.
Yeah,
they're positioned in a place where if they go 12-6 or maybe 11-7 in the league, they're probably an NCAA tournament team.
But they have to do that, and I haven't seen anything from this team to this point that makes me think that.